places, right? So how I did this. I got your first chat and your first message that listed the neighborhoods. And then I did a little bit of research on those neighborhoods and I said, she gets it. She got it. She read my request and she responded and she got it. And I said, how do I work with you? I'm so happy where I am and how I landed that was money well spent as far as I'm concerned. But again, if I had, yes, I'm sure that I know where I'm going. I know that I want to be there. But if I had just worked with you guys or known of you guys and maybe I would have been in this place 2 weeks earlier, right?
That's good to know. I'm really thankful to hear that.
So when someone comes into your life that makes you feel, it's a light, like this shiny light. These two people that are very bright and shiny and loving and caring, and you may run away from that. You may, because you don't know what that is, or it's scary because it's unfamiliar. But I'm glad I had done a lot of my work, because when you guys came in and walked in with your light, I was able to enjoy it.
Yes. What advice would you give to someone considering a similar move but feeling a little bit hesitant?
This was because that's a question that I was having a difficult time answering, right? Because there's so many different reasons why people they want to do this, but they're having a difficult time taking steps forward. And it goes back to your why. Like, why are you considering this? Think about your why every day. Why that you're considering this. And if you think about that every day, a translator, which I'm so grateful for. Like I was sitting there looking at that piece of paper going, thank God this man knows and he was very thorough. He was good. He was very thorough, made sure I understood, what was going on. Loved it.
I mean,
yes.
Let me just say that everything is energy. Even the stuff that you just buy, you're compiling them in your household. And I'm glad you've mentioned this, Gail. The moment you started selling and reducing the stuff, and you just felt lighter, and the whole travel was like, yes, here I am.
Yes,
I'm ready for a new chapter. And welcome back to the channel, and if you're listening today through our Relocate Abroad podcast, warm welcome to you as well. If you're new here, I am Lottie. I am a lawyer, a realtor, and a relocation success manager who has been living in Mexico for over 5 years. We help you live better abroad, and in today's series of Get to Be an Expert as an Expert, we have an amazing guest who is going to share her story today and her bespoke journey all the way from the US to Mexico. Thank you, Gail, for agreeing to share your relocation journey with us at Experts Living Abroad. This interview is designed to inspire others, showcase your experience, and highlight the services that supported your move. Please give a warm welcome to Gail, who's now moved to Merida, Mexico from the state of New York, and Georgia in the US, and also has Belizean roots.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here, and thank you for your help for making this part of my journey possible. Yeah.
You're welcome, and thank you again, Gail, for coming in on the platform. Can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and where you're from originally, and what inspired you to consider moving abroad?
Well, originally I was born and raised in New York, in the Bronx, but my parents are both immigrants. They moved from Belize, Central America, to New York in the 60s, and then started a family there. I lived there in California, and between California and New York for most of my life. And until the last 4 years, I lived in Georgia. I moved to Georgia right in the middle of the pandemic, moved to Georgia. One of my sisters lived there, so I decided to move down there and see what that was about. In the beginning, the tail end of 2024, I decided to finally take the leap and leave the country and start living life abroad. And then that's been something that I've wanted to do, for the majority of my adult life.
So what drew you specifically to Mexico, and why did you choose Merida as your new home?
As a child, we did travel back and forth to Belize a lot, just because we still have family there. So ending up in Merida, Mexico was not a far reach, right? It's a 7-hour bus ride to Belize. And what drew me to Merida was the proximity to Belize, the tales of my parents going to Merida as young adults, and then one of my best friend, who is Mexican American, spent a summer here in Merida in 2019. From her telling, it just revived all of those conversations and all of those stories that my parents had and folks growing up had about Merida. And I was like, wait a minute, I want to go to Merida. And again, I've always felt a connection to the Yucatan and the peninsula and just the culture. Whenever we went on cruises and stopped in the area, I would go and look at the pyramids and explore and try to connect with the culture in the area, just because it felt familiar. So that's how I ended up. And then I did my own research and found all of the wonderful things about Merida. And it's safe, one of the safest, if not the safest place in Mexico, and certainly one of the safest places in North America. Sold, sign me up.
I agree completely, and you said again Merida. It's really like one of those gems, I say, in Mexico that a lot of people know about. Cancun, Playa del Carmen, Baja California, but Merida is one of those like little niche magical town gem, I would say, that people don't know about, but when they do know about it, it just calls them home, right? The next point we'll discuss today would be the decision to relocate. What were the main factors behind your decision, lifestyle, maybe your wellness, cost of living, venture? Was it something else that made you say, I want something different?
So I think for at least 10 years, I've been looking to do something different. It started out with thinking, okay, maybe I just need to get rid of most of my stuff and become a minimalist. So I got rid of a bunch of stuff. And then I was like, well, maybe I just want to live in a town. And I was raising my nephew at the time. There weren't a bunch of drastic changes that I could make. So I got rid of as much stuff as I could. And then he finally graduated from high school and went on to, move out. And then it was like, maybe I want to have a tiny house, but then the pandemic hit, and then I just was like, well, maybe it's moving to Georgia. Maybe I'll move to Georgia. But the thing about that is, I moved to Georgia. The whole mindset of shrinking is not something that happens when you move to the South or to Georgia, right? Because everything there is bigger. The houses are bigger. The cars are bigger. Yeah. The roads are bigger. So that I was like, maybe it's not, because there isn't a place where I would want to go except maybe out of the country. Maybe I want to leave. Maybe it's me leaving again. And the election of 2024 really kind of put the focus on what it is that I wanted to do and what it is that I think would be best for me. If there's nowhere else in the country that I necessarily want to do all of the van life thinking. I was thinking at one point I wanted to do van life or a tiny house and it was like, no, why don't you just go see the world or from a different point of view, right? Go and live somewhere else. And I really didn't have I didn't think of anywhere else. I know people have, looked at Panama, and folks have even looked at Belize, right? I love Belize. It's not far away. It's right there. I can get there. But I just was called to Merida. And the cost of living, right? It's a kind of a no-brainer. And the ease of living, right? That I could live in a town where I wouldn't have to drive and I could take care of all of my needs, get all of my needs met without a car.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I know from the Western world, we're so used to either you're driving or you're commuting. Like in the UK, you're either commuting 2 to at least 4 hours a day, literally going back and forth, going to work, and that's 20 hours a week, or you're either like driving and it's the same amount of time. So I hear you.
Yeah, and I definitely when I thought about work, at first I wanted to just take a sabbatical. I was just going to come down here for 6 months. I saved up some money, and I was just going to have a sabbatical and get my head right, I guess, and not work. But it didn't turn out that way. I continued to work, and I work remote.
Which is absolutely amazing and perfect, I would say. I mean, in the digital world that we live now, I think everyone should be given an opportunity to work remotely. I think even like now they're saying they want, a lot of countries are doing this 4-day, work week. I think that's amazing. I think work-life balance is really important because it takes care of our mental health as well.
Yeah.
We're not meant to be living in a rat race, right? So, I mean, I agree. And you've got beliefs in roots, and you're saying, Merida's called you home. And unless you've been here and you've met the Yucatecan people and their culture and their Mayan culture, very much immense in it, they're very much, connected to the nature. And also they have this very tranquil sort of chill out of, cultural norm, I would say, and I think it's sort of like you have to put a pose, especially when you come, like you're from New York, right? Tell me how big New York is.
And it's really and that's the other thing. I grew up with people from this area, right? So, because Belizean folks are they're pretty laid back. So I grew up in a town that was not laid back by any stretch of the imagination growing in New York. And then, but you have the comfort of when you are in community because we did stay primarily within our community, and we still do. We're still very a close-knit community. So when you have having that balance and knowing that that's out there, knowing what that looks like, because there are people that grew up in New York that have no idea what that's like, what that is to be able to. And I will say that I was looking for that when I went to Georgia. No. If anyone ever told you that it's slow living in the South, it's not the Atlanta area. It's not there. That's not slow living there. It's maybe slower pace than New York or California or LA maybe, but it's not the same. So, but coming here, you're like, this is what slow pace, or this is what easygoing means. This is what being chill means, right? Things get done, right?
Yes.
You're going to get things done, right? I smile more just because. Like I'm walking in the street, I lift my head to say hello to people, and people are like, hello, buenos dias, it's like, and coming from, because you don't do that in New York. You don't do that in New York, right? People think you're weird if you just start walking around going, hey, how you doing? Hi, right?
Yeah.
And nobody walks in Los Angeles. So you're not coming across people and saying hello to them. So, because nobody walks in LA. In Georgia, again, that it's the same thing. But when they come across you, they are very friendly in Georgia. But it doesn't really seem genuine. But here, you're walking, you come across, like every other step is you come across people because people are going along their day and they're walking, and it's, and
I definitely I resonate so much with you with that. And as you know, I'm from the UK, and literally, we don't live in London. I used to work in London, but even in the rural outskirts of London, you go for a walk, saying hello is not a thing, and people will nod and acknowledge you. If you, like you said, if you say go around, good morning. I mean, when I moved here, I found it very bizarre. It took me, I know it's weird, right? I shouldn't have found it bizarre when people are saying hello to me, generally saying hello and wishing me a good day,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this makes you feel, oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
And it's funny how when you go back, I kind of miss it. I'm like, no one's saying good morning to me, or no one's saying good afternoon, right? And it just makes you more, how do I put it? Community, like you said, you kind of feel more welcomed, and also community. You realize you're human beings, and you both need to acknowledge each other, right?
Yes, yes. And I will say the other thing is because they're a lot of times they're surprised to see me because I'm, this African American person or this person,
Yeah.
and they're just like, but they will have this genuine delight, like a genuine delight. They're surprised, but they're genuinely delighted to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they say hello or buenos dias, they're like, hey, buenos dias. It's like, this
Feel it.
is a
You can
nice surprise.
feel
I'm happy to see you. And that makes your day. And imagine getting that a couple of times went on a
yes.
walk.
Yes. Definitely, absolutely like a welcoming community here in Merida. I totally agree 1,000%. How did your family and friends react when you shared your relocation plan?
None of them, the only person that was surprised was my father. No one else was surprised. I think they were really shocked when I moved to Georgia. So they were already kind of trying to settle because I'd lived and I loved living. I did. I loved living in New York, but it got to me. And then the pandemic. And so I was like, I got to get out of here. I got to do something different. So when I said that I was going to Merida they were like, where are you going? The younger people who weren't familiar with Merida in my family, they were like, Mexico? Why are you going to Mexico? What? The older people who knew Merida were like, oh, that sounds really nice because they knew Merida. My father knows Merida. He's been, as a child or a young person, he would come here, but his memories are not he doesn't have fond memories, right? I think he had some incident with his mother, and he was a mama's boy. So he was and has been not happy with the whole move, right? But he realizes that, I'm a grown person. So it's instead of our once a week calls, I know now talk with him 3 times a week, and he's fine, or he's warming up to it. I think,
Yes.
again, I don't think anyone was surprised about me moving abroad, but I do think the younger people that do not know Merida, they were concerned. They were like, why are you going to Mexico? And I'm always, they know I'm not a fly by night type of person. They know that I'm very straight laced. My nieces and nephews, they think that I'm the strictest aunt that they have, and they have a lot of aunts, but I'm the strictest one. So that whole shock from them didn't last long because they know that I wouldn't make rash decisions or decisions that I haven't thought through or that don't have meaning. So everyone was like, my mother was perfect. She spends half the year in Belize. So it's an opportunity to, that she'll have one of us close by. So yeah, it fit. It was all in aligned with everything that I was kind of feeling and that I had going on with my family. And so people were like, it makes sense. That makes sense. To my dad, it doesn't make sense, but that's one day at a time.
Yes, ma'am. And I think he will probably come and visit and you show him around and whatever experience he had as a child. And we do sometimes hold on to those little
Yeah.
memories, right? Might just be, something little misunderstanding, misconstrued, or whatever memory that we hold on to as children. And he will love it. I believe so, because we've had family here. And like you said before, when we said, we're moving to Mexico, it was like, okay, what's going on? Like, what's going on? And literally, we're happy, and they can see that we're happy generally. And I think that's most important, right?
Mm-hmm.
When family sees generally, this is just not a little, whatever crisis we were going through. No, it's actually a good decision, thought process, logical explanation. They want a much more better lifestyle, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I've said this to you, Gail, we're not trees. I'm going to keep on saying that we're not trees. We were given legs by God Almighty to walk this earth and enjoy it in its fullest glory. That's why our ancestors were nomads, right? Working with us at Ella, Experts Living Abroad, how did you first come across us? at Ella and Oliver Properties. How did you come across us?
Yeah, we connected in the a Facebook group. And when I first got here, because I got here on July 1st, and I was staying in an Airbnb that I had booked on the east side of Central. And I had booked that for 4.5 months, but it was not ideal. Right. For what I was paying, it was not ideal. So I got here on the 31st, and I think it was maybe August 3rd or 4th that I got on the Facebook page, the Facebook group, and I was like, can anyone give me some recommendations for a walkable neighborhood that is, because that was my main problem with where I was. It was not really walkable. It was very busy. It was a very busy street I was on. It was noisy, and you couldn't really walk around. The sidewalks it wasn't walkable. And that was my whole point in picking Merida. Because I could walk around and get where I'm going. I could still get where I was going, but now I'm walking on the streets, watch and dodging cars. And that's not walkable to me. So, so I got on there and I said, you know what? I need to find a place that's walkable, that's near the center of the city, near Central. I don't want to move too far north. I don't want to move outside the perimeter of the periférico. I want to experience the city. I want to be able to explore, and I want to be able to walk and get to know the city in one piece. So I did. I put that out there, and you responded. You responded with three areas that you thought that and I will say I ended up in one of those areas, and I said, well, how do I work with you, right? Because I responded to your, she said you'd love to work with me, and I was like, I'd love to work with you. Tell me about it,
Yeah.
and I think we had a call the next day or a couple of days later.
The next day.
Yeah. And we started working together and found this place. We talked on the Tuesday, you found this place, or we found this place on the Thursday, and then we went to see it on the Friday.
Yeah, we bought it on Thursday and we viewed it on Friday.
Yeah, viewed it on Friday, and I was like, sign me up. That's my place. I want it. And it was literally, I mean, when I saw the listing, it was love at first sight, to be honest with you. I was like, that's my place. That's my place.
Yes, ma'am.
It was near a beautiful park. It's near a beautiful park. And that was one of the things, I'd like it to be near a park. I also said I wanted a washing machine. I was like, that was one of my, this place does not have a washing machine, but I don't care because it's beautiful. But
it's interesting how, from the first consultation when we had it on Tuesday, and I think we spoke on Monday, and on Facebook, and then on Tuesday we had the consultation. I think Thursday you saw the property, and then I had seen the property as well, and basically I
found the property.
Washer. Yes, and I was like, "There's no way I'm showing you this listing because you insisted and said if there's anything I want, guarantee, no question asked, no negotiations, is a washer." So I was like, "I'm not showing you this." I wake up to your message. I think it was Thursday morning. Sorry, that was Wednesday when I said Wednesday night. And then Thursday morning, I wake up to your message saying, is this listing available? And I'm like, wait, what? This is the same listing I was looking at last evening. And I said, yes, it is. And we schedule a viewing on Friday and we go view it. And I had to ask, again, is there a washer so that you just clearly, so there's no washer and you're not upset later. And you're like, no, there's no washer. I'm like, is it like a deal breaker? You're like, no, I love it. This is it. This is home for now, right?
And again, what kind of brought it home for me is that you had seen it on your own and you were like, you had it in your head. This is what she's looking for, but the washer, right? But I saw it and I was like, I didn't even think about the washer, like until you had mentioned it, because the pictures and this particular place, when you look at a place online, generally the pictures are nicer than the actual place. Not this time. This place was much nicer than the pictures. Yeah.
I agree. And don't get me wrong, we have a lot of advice on social media. I'm not going to name and shame, but we have a lot of advice for new experts, people looking to relocate, being told, go on your own, find it. And that's great. We can all find a property. But I feel like with the expertise you get with an expert like ourselves is not only do you get expert local advice, but we also chip in to show you the local laws about leasing, how sometimes you can see a picture and then you go view the property. It's nothing like what you saw online at all. Or you get to have problems later on. You signed a lease and you didn't even read it because it's in Spanish. And then later on you have problems with the property and you've got no help because you signed a lease in Spanish. So there's so many things. I feel like I'm glad you took that initiative to trust our service and go along with us. And because literally we walked in the property and like I said, I always said this to you, I think over the phone, I said to you, you might see something nice online, but I do tell you it's a very humid place. A lot of places have humidity and we get mold issues sometimes as well. So you want to be wary about this kind of things, and property needs to be taken care of. You want a landlord who takes care of the property, right? And we try our level best when we get a property. We want property that's not only the landlord taking care of it, but also the maintenance is also up part, because I don't want my clients to get a leasing just for me to finish that little, deal between that client, and then later on in a year or less than that they have a problem and I don't care because I've got my commission as a real estate agent, and that's not really appropriate. So I think I mentioned just be careful out there. There's so many properties. Yes, we need to find you a place that we are sure you're going to love it. And the moment we walked in, I truly said to you, this is better than the pictures, and you were like, yes, exactly what you were thinking. And I think this is all alignment. I think, Gail, you even said something to me. You said it's the energy you bring. And can I just say, from the moment we spoke,
yes,
an absolute breath of fresh air. I've not met your parents, but they did well. From another human being. No, I'm serious. We need more kind people in this world, and we need more genuine, authentic people, and you're one of them.
Oh, thank you. And I love, like, after we went and saw the place, it was like we did a victory lap, because we walked to the park, your husband and us, we walked to the park. It was like a victory lap. We went and looked at the new neighborhood. It just felt right. I've been doing a lot of the searching that I've been doing over the last 10 years, trying to figure things out. It's internal, right? It's asking those questions, trying to figure out, trying to get to a place that feels good in a world that sometimes doesn't feel so good. And being around people that make you feel good, because you will know when those people kind of if someone throws you off that good feeling that you have. And that can give you it's a negative feeling, but a lot of us go around with those negative feelings because we're bombarded with them so often that we don't know how to manage them. So when someone comes into your life that makes you feel, it's a light, like this shiny light, these two people that are very bright and shiny and loving and caring, and you may run away from that. Because you don't know what that is, or it's scary because it's unfamiliar. But I'm glad I had done a lot of my work, because when you guys came in and walked in with your light, I was able to enjoy it.
Yes, that's truly humbling, and that's such kind words to hear from you, Gail. Like you said, my husband and I, we do thoroughly work hard for. I mean, we go. I think it's not only a calling for us, but also a passion. And I want us to not only treat our clients like a human being, like you said, light. I mean, that's amazing to even be described that way. It's quite humbling, to say the least. I mean, I'm glad you took that hand and said, let's go, let's do this. And together, I mean, amazing results, like you said. And just to add on to the story, it was actually my husband who found the property as we were searching, sent it to me. And I'm like, this is it. Yes, but it hasn't got a wash up, right? So look at that amazing connection of three people alignment, right?
Yeah.
And I always say, manifestation, I'm going to keep on saying this. We need to use more impeccable words when we speak, because we are actually creators of our lives. And not to take away God Almighty, who obviously plans the journey for us, but also we take a part. We have a responsibility to change the narrative in our lives, and that comes from what we utter, from out. And I'm thankful you are light as well. And I truly am thankful for trusting our services at Ella. I mean, when I started this company with my husband, we truly wanted to make it very bespoke and personable and wanted our clients to say what you just said. And that's been amazing. I mean, truly amazing to hear that.
Yeah.
And I mean, you just literally answered my next question, which was describe how the experience was working with us from your virtual consultation to settling to your new home.
No doubts. I had no doubt. Like I think when you we chatted a little bit on Facebook, and you said no. It was after you said I'd really like to work with you to find those places, right? So this is what how I did this. I got your first chat about and your first message that listed the neighborhoods. And then I did a little bit of research on those neighborhoods, and I said she gets it. She got it. She read my request and she responded and she got it. And I said, "How do I work with you?"
Yes, ma'am.
And so that's because you will, and in the past, I've sent out requests or I've said, can you tell me about this? And folks have just gone in totally different directions, whatever directions they wanted to go, right? And you just know that that's not going to be a good fit, or maybe you don't know and you end up going the wrong direction. But it was, yes, she got it. She understood. She understands. She gets it. And I ended up in one of those neighborhoods, and you were very clear about you described them, and I'm like, okay, yes, these are and I did some research on my own, and I was like, yes, she get it. This is it. This is it. I'm good. How do I work with you? How do we do this? No regrets.
I'm glad you said that because, like I said, we go above and beyond. I read your message. I wanted to give you an impact before you know me. Because, like you said, like when I come and approach all my clients, we want to ensure that we already showcase ourselves what we can do for you, right? I read your message. I needed to understand exactly what your needs are. I'm here not to answer my needs as a business, but your needs, right? And I need to have an emotional connection with you first. And that's to understand what you need. And when I read your message, I was like, I need to show you how this is done. And that's what we do with all our clients. How do we go about getting you what you like to have in your life, right? And I'm so thankful this was so smoothly. And again, this is God's grace, literally God's grace. I mean, relocation experience, what were some of the biggest challenges, maybe surprises during the move, and how did you overcome them?
Oh, well, because it was a rental situation right now, and I don't have a Mexican bank. I've only been here since the 31st. It was like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, right? So I don't have a Mexican bank account, and I had to have all of this deposit, the first month's rent, the payments because I had a lawyer and a translator, which I'm so grateful for. Like I was sitting there looking at that piece of paper going, thank God this man knows and he was very thorough. He was good. He was very thorough, made sure I understood, what was going on. Loved it. However, everybody needed to be paid in cash. Cash, cash, cash. And I'm like, that's a lot of pesos.
Yes, yes. And that's the biggest challenge for most of our clients, right? Because, okay, let's just explain this. So for people who don't know this, as a foreigner coming to live, in a country that's not of your residency or your usual residence, right? And you're moving abroad in the Yucatan state. Every other Mexican state is different. Only in the Yucatan state, you are required to pay double deposit if you don't have an aval. An aval is an equivalent of a sponsor or somebody who basically in the Yucatan state owns a property here and sort of can testify to you being a good tenant and you're going to be able to pay your monthly rentals, right? And so because you're new here, you want to be able to have an aval. So not only do you have to pay your first month's rent, you also have to pay a double deposit. And also we sign something through a notario, and a notario, which is a notary basically in Mexico is actually a lawyer, as opposed to other countries. I mean, the US and the UK, a notary can be anybody who goes to school and gets a certificate for that. But in Mexico, a notary is actually a lawyer first, and then they have to qualify to become a notary public, right? And then so you assign this document in Spanish. Again, a lot of us who come here have no clue that basically that legal document, if you sign it in Spanish and you have no clue what you're signing, technically you cannot use a defense of saying, I didn't know what was on it. So with my clients, what we do is we hire a licensed translator, not just any translator, not myself or any other agent out there who can speak English and Spanish. No, a licensed translator who comes in and assists our client during the signing of the contract. So that way, so the biggest challenge, I would say, like you said, was getting that, cash, because the double deposit has to be paid, and the double deposit is equivalent to the monthly rent. And then you have to pay first month's rent. So that's 3 months in advance. And then you also have to pay the notarial public. And so as a foreigner, you have to go back and forth on ATMs to remove the cash.
Because you can't. All of that.
And I do assist our client with telling you which one to use to get the less fees.
Yeah, that was helpful.
At the moment, it's in Barca. It's the cheapest one right now for ATMs in Mexico. So even though it is the cheapest one, going back and forth, hustling, getting the cash is not really for the faint.
No, so that was the most challenging, right? Walking around with it all. I mean, at the end of the day, it was, never more than $500, but it was thousands of pesos. Thousands of pesos. And I'm like, Jesus, this is a lot.
Yeah.
So I think that to me was the most challenging. And then having to, keep track of all of that and constantly counting all of these pesos.
I mean, it is a discomfort, but I think there's a absolutely bigger present and reward at the end of this whole, transaction bit. And I think it's just the legalities. I think what I want my clients to feel is to feel very much seamless in that process, even though you have to do that little cash withdrawal part of it. But I feel like me including, a good notary public, the translator, to make sure you know exactly what you're signing. I hope that made much more seamless for you, Gail, as opposed to getting stressed out.
If I had to sit there and guess what was, in that document and just not be sure, on top of having handed over all of those thousands and thousands and thousands of pesos, right? That would have been the worst. I would be sitting here I wouldn't be able to enjoy. I would not be sitting here enjoying my home, right?
I agree completely. And personal reflections and advice. What has this move taught you about yourself?
What has it taught me about myself? That I've always, I come from a large family, but I've always been very independent. And I have not relied, and my family will say this, right? That I don't generally rely on them or call on them if I need help. And when it went to raising my nephew, I did reach out to the babysitting if I need to go out or whatever. So, but I'm not one to. That's not normally how I am described, as someone that would reach out for help whenever I needed it. Like I would tough it out or figure other things out or pay money. It's that's my personality. But what moving here has taught me is that does not always. That's not the path to success. You're coming to a place that was built on community, right? They are this is a family-oriented place. Mexico in general, right, is heavily family-oriented. Self-reliance is, only as good as what I think what your goal is. Like, are you roughing it or toughing it out or being self-reliant so that you can get stuff and give it to your family, or just for you? Or are you just doing that for yourself? What are you doing that for? Why are you what is all this independence about? And coming here, I would not have thought that I would have reached out so quickly, right? Because I was like quick on that Facebook page, like, and then when the help came so quickly, and as soon as I said yes, I accept this help, I accept this community, I accept this, things just kind of flowed. It was not, and I haven't been fighting it. That taught me this has taught me that it's okay. It's okay to accept help, the help that reaches out to me, right? If I need it, it's there. Because and that feels good. It feels good to know that one, I can accept help when, because I've been very independent, very stubborn about that. And that has not served me, not always. It hasn't always served me. But I want success for myself here, right? And I know that a part of that is being in community, right? And making myself available, right, to the community. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm talking with you now, because I want you to be successful. I want people to know what great service you can provide for them. So yeah, that's what it's taught me.
God bless. I appreciate. I mean, again, I mean, like you said, the root cause of us to do this business in the first place was we wanted someone like ourselves. We've learned quite a bit, all the ins and outs and the tough decisions and the misconceptions that we went through and all that. We wanted someone like us who was there when we moved here, because we just had to learn and get through the tide on our own. And we're here to make it seamless because we've done that part for you, if that makes sense. And I'm thankful that you, again, trust us and you are here to support us. And I appreciate for me, it's your movement, it's your story, you never know how many people you're going to inspire out there who are going to be watching today. And they probably have doubts, whatever that's stopping them from moving forward into whatever change they want in their life, and they can see that it's doable, right? Were there any misconceptions you had about expat life that turned out differently once you arrived?
Well, again, I've only been here, it's been a month now, right? So I've only been here for a month, but I didn't have, as far as expat life, my life living abroad, I think because I've been doing a lot of research and trying not to underthink anything or overthink anything. Trying not to. I think here's something that the place where I was, I thought that I would be able to rough it a lot more than I ended up having the gumption to do. Right. So I thought that I would be able to, because the last place I was in it was very much smaller than this place. It wasn't in a very walkable, it was very busy, but I grew up in a very busy and congested area in a small space. Right. So I'm thinking I can do this. This is, but I was like, no. You get to, again, not that I wanted a place as big as I had in Georgia, because everything is bigger in Georgia. No, that's not what I wanted. But I am at an age, right? I'm 55. I need a certain amount of comfort, and that I have earned, and not that I'm going about it the wrong way, right? That I'm being kind of an expat coming in and not being considerate of the culture, but I'm willing to pay and I'm not paying any less or any more than I was paying for the Airbnb. That's the other nutty thing, right? The area wasn't as nice. The apartment was not even half the size of this apartment, and I was paying just as much. But I thought the misconception I had about myself is that, I can rough it. I can be in this area. I'm from the Bronx, so. But then I was like, but I want to be around a park. I want to have trees. I want to, be able to walk places and not have to be dodging cars, and so.
And there's nothing wrong with that, Gail. I mean, absolutely, there's nothing. Comfort is one of those things I feel like we've been told is almost a bad thing to aspire to have. And I think that's the most, you can think better, you can smile, You can wake
Yes.
up just in gratitude when you're in an environment that actually just heals you, right? And you, like you said, you're from New York, so I understand completely. Like in London, everything is so busy. You just like, oh, just get with it. You know, the train is packed. Just get in. You're just gonna get where you're going. Like they just show you, like just go with the flow. But no, wait. It's not comfortable though. It's really painful. And why do I have to feel this pain, right? And there's nothing wrong with pain. They say, you know, you can only grow through pains and there's nothing wrong with it. But every single day,
No.
there has to be a catch-22 and there has to be a happy medium. And I'm glad you said, I need help. Someone needs to, you know, show me the way. And I'm glad you took that hand, like I said, that we let out to you. And you said, thank you, let's go. And I believe in every single word you said when you said, again, I'm going to keep on saying this. The energy you bring is so important. And, you know, we live in a world where we don't realize that sometimes when you think the world has turned against you, maybe you're the one who stands against
Yes.
the world. And that's one thing we need to always, you know, when you point one finger, you got four fingers facing yourself,
Yes.
right? I believe in manifesting the life you want. And obviously through God's grace at every right. It's when God says it will and he wills it. But at the same time, we cannot sit here and say, oh, whatever, you know, it's not my will. Not really, because you have a part to play. And like you said, you know, the moment you let go, the moment you said yes to help, everything transcends.
Yeah.
And no one will believe if you said to them, I met this lady on a Monday, we spoke on a chat, and by Friday I had a new place. And that place I'm paying almost, if not similar to what I'm paying now, but I was not happy in the previous place. And that's one thing about Mexico as well. It's not about what you're paying for, it's really relative to what
Yes.
you get. And
Yes.
because a lot of us are new, you're going to pay for it because you think that's the price. But technically, you can get a better place for the same price. You just have to look, right?
Right. Right.
Okay, next at Ella. What advice would you give to someone considering a similar move but feeling a little bit hesitant?
This was because that's a question that I was having a difficult time answering, right? Because there's so many different reasons why people they want to do this, but they're having a difficult time taking steps forward. And it goes back to your why. Like, why are you considering this? Think about your why every day. Why that you're considering this, and if you think about that every day, right? The next thing that I will say, because what made it easier for me to have this move, without a doubt, what has made it easier. One, I only had myself to consider, right? A lot of people have family, pets, you know, parents, kids, husbands, wives. Those are really difficult, especially if they have no desire. They don't have the same desire. That's just, I mean, I can't even speak to that, right? But I was on my own, and what stopped me, or what took me so long to get to this point, was not my why wasn't strong enough. But then my why became really strong, and then it was like, right? But then what had me, because my why was there, and then the timing, right? So now it's like, well, my initial goal was January 2026. And that was my initial date. I had it planned. I had everything. And why was it going to take me so long? It was going to take me that long to get rid of my stuff. That's how I think it was going to take me to get rid of all of my stuff. Because a lot of times I think people can't even fathom moving or leaving or taking that next step in their lives because of all of their stuff. I know that was me, and I know other people that is there. They can't even make a move, or consider what their next move in life is, because they have so much stuff that it doesn't allow them to think. It doesn't allow them to breathe. It doesn't allow them to think past all of that stuff. But I will tell you, if you just start getting rid of that stuff, and I'm not saying that that's an easy thing to do, decluttering or getting rid of your stuff, and it's not easy. Not all of it isn't easy, because some of that stuff is really easy to get rid of. And when you start getting rid of that stuff, and if you still have your why is strong enough, and you're getting rid of the stuff, you'll see how quickly you get out the door. Because, like I said, when I moved to Georgia, I got rid of stuff. But then as my why became more powerful, I started getting rid of stuff more. Once I was down to like just a few items, or I had like a couch and my table, my desk and things, I was like, I'm getting out of here. I'm ready. I'm so ready to go, because you're lighter. You can move a lot quicker when you're a lot lighter.
And I'm glad you mentioned this, because I think we had this discussion not too long ago about how much, we've been so much commercialized to buying stuff, the newest phone, the newest gadget, this and that. And half the time you're just buying it and just accumulating in the household for what?
Yes.
I mean, I even mentioned to you, we now have a motto. Do I need this? Do I want it? If I want it, I'm not buying it. If I need it, yes. Because, it's you're just accumulating stuff, like you said.
Stuff.
And you're not leaving room for the right things to come into your life, right?
Yes.
Everything is energy. I mean,
yes.
Let me just say that everything is energy. Even the stuff that you're just buying, you're compiling them in your household. And I'm glad you've mentioned this, Gail. The moment you started selling and reducing the stuff, and you just felt lighter, and the whole travel was like, yes, here I am.
Yes.
I'm ready for a new chapter. And I completely agree. The amount of, when they say spring, cleaning, people usually say that a lot, but I think people need to do it on the regular, like every 3 months.
Yes.
Literally.
Look at these. Look at the thing. Look at your things. Look at these things. When was the last time I used this? Do you even know what that is? Do I even know what this is? What is this? Why do I still have this? You start getting rid of your stuff. You become lighter, and you'll be able to move a lot more swiftly. You'll be able to make decisions better. Like, that was the most surprising thing. Like, I thought I could make decisions, but when I didn't have as much stuff.
Yeah, that's the life all our ancestors lived. Just think about it. There were nomads. They had to move.
Yeah,
they moved a lot. They didn't have stuff. And, and again, don't get me wrong. It's amazing to have a beautiful home, nicely decorated. We're not taking away from that. Each to their own. But we have a lot of us who are just keeping things that we don't use.
Mm-hmm.
Check that today. When was the last time you wore that red dress?
Yes.
I'm just saying, it's that simple, right? Okay, highlights and memorable moments. What has been the most rewarding or unexpected part of your journey so far?
Well, this place, I think the move, that was unexpected. I had that last place for 4 months. I'm thinking I'm good. I will be good. So that was and the relationship, of course, that has sprung from that, and having such a wonderful interaction and experience with you, and when that was unexpected. Pleasant, unexpected. I think the kindness of the people is also, because I did hear that people were very kind, but I don't know why I didn't think that it would extend to me so quickly or so freely. And it has. It really has. My first day, because my family had a family reunion in Belize, and so I timed my move here around that. So I was in Belize, and then from there I just came directly to Merida. And the first day, coming to Merida, I had to get a bus from the border of Chetumal into Merida. So I'm at the bus station, but I got dropped off because I had taken a ferry from this Belize island to Chetumal, right? So I'm at the border, and I have to take this bus this little van to the bus station. So I get to the bus station and I don't have cash. So I'm doing the whole cash thing, but then I get the cash and it's too much and he doesn't have change. And so now I'm there with my 3 bags and I'm kind of flustered, and I have to go back in, and I go back in to get like single, or smaller amounts. And I go back to look for him, and he's gone. And his truck is still there, right? The van is still there, but he's gone. And I'm like looking around, and he turns the corner, and he has two bottles of water in his hand, and he gives me one of the bottles of water, and he says, so, no problemo. It's okay. Drink some water. It's okay. Because he sees that I'm like freaking out.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta get this man this money. He's because all the other passengers paid, and they're getting on their buses or whatever, and I'm still sitting trying to figure things out, and he's just like, relax, drink this water and settle down, right? It's fine. It's fine. And so I paid him. He's like, thank you. And, went on and I had my water, and I'm sitting there, really? And my blood pressure went, right? Like,
No, I agree. And I have a similar story to tell. And I think I've told you this before. And also, just to add just a little bit to your story, for those who don't know, Gail had booked an Airbnb for 4 months when she initially came into Merida. This is before we found our lovely place right now. And, that's why she needed to come out, because the good thing was it was a 4-month, Airbnb, but she was paying on a month or 2-month basis. So it wasn't like a whole payment had been paid out. A good flexible refund, I guess. That was a good deal. Otherwise, she would have been stuck in this new 4 months in a place that she did not really like. And also to add to your story about the kindness, when we first moved here, I think it was like first or the second week, 5 years ago, and we had gone to a fruteria. Fruteria is a place where you literally buy different vegetables, fruits, very nicely decorated with all array of fruits in Mexico. We went in there with the mindset that, cards are used anywhere. So we, all our goods are nice fruits, vegetables, and we're about to pay. And the lady was like, no, efectivo, like only cash. And I'm just like, oh dear. And she was kind enough to tell us we are strangers. We had never seen this lady. We had never stepped foot in her shop in our lives, to say to us, take this home and bring me the money tomorrow. That's the level of kindness I've not seen anywhere else. And I'm not sitting here trying to, vamp Mexico. And I'm not saying the world is horrible out there. No, but I'm saying the level of kindness that I've experienced here in this country is absolutely profound, because it was not a cheap grocery shopping. It was at least 1,000 pesos, which is a lot of money for the locals.
Yeah.
And for this lady to say to us, just take the goods, don't worry, come and pay me tomorrow. And so I agree when you said this man just gave you a bottle of water and said, just calm down, everything's fine. Tranquilo.
Yeah.
And I can see that, and I see how that just level of perception makes you realize, wait, what? I can breathe, right? Any other standout moments, experiences, maybe anything that you can recommend to future expats in Mexico?
I did not. I did not do a scouting trip. I didn't scout. I just jumped. I just moved here, packed up and moved here. But I would recommend that you, because maybe if I had, I wouldn't have ended up where I ended up, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think a scouting trip, even if it's just for a few weeks, I think that's do a scouting trip, right? Don't be like me. I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy with the weather. Like, I love the heat. That was my whole thing. People were like, it's really hot there, Gail. I don't know, how are you going to manage that? I'm like, they have fans. I don't have the air conditioner on. I rarely put it on. I put it on every now and then, but I love the heat. But if it's, but be realistic about what you can manage. Be realistic and be kind, right? And be open to the kindness that you will receive, right? I think and don't be afraid to put yourself out there, right? So my whole thing now is language. I'm determined to become fluent in the next year, right? It's not going to happen in 6 months, but I'm going to put myself out there and I'm going to make it happen, because I want to be able to communicate. So this is another story. At the last place, there was a convenience store, and I braved out one day to go to this convenience store. It had rained earlier in the afternoon, and it was about 6 o'clock. And so I braved to go to the walk down the block to go to this convenience store to get some water. So I'm walking down there, and there were these three older folks sitting out enjoying the air, right? Because it's about 6 o'clock. It's starting to cool down. The rain had cooled things down considerably. And so I was walking past, and I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And yes, they did. They did stop me. They stopped me, and they were, talking to me. We could communicate enough where they were like, what are you doing here? What are you up to? And, I told them in my broken Spanish that I am living in the area, and they were just so kind and sweet. One of them said, are you doing okay? Are you, finding the area okay? And I said, yes. And thank you for asking. And, she was like, you're so pretty. And I'm like, thank you. I'm just like, and I told them I was going to the store. And so, but they were like, so I went to the store, and I was on my way back, and they asked me to sit down and have a beer with them, because they were sitting out there having a beer. And they asked me if I wanted a beer, but I had went to the store to buy it, and I bought a beer. And so I showed them that I had a beer, and they're like, and so we were just sitting there cackling, that I had, but it's that kind of kindness, right? It's that kind of, and it's all over, right? It's in that area. It's up here. People will say hello and stuff, but be open to it. It feels good. It feels really good. That's what I would advise, right? Be open to it. Come, explore. Don't just stay in one area. Explore everything. I think this area has such a rich, cultural background, history, and it has some exciting things happening in its future. I think that, and I'm happy to try to be a part of that.
That's amazing. That's a beautiful story and a beautiful advice for our future experts. Anybody out there who wants to immigrate to Mexico or any other country abroad, do a scouting trip.
Yeah.
It's important. Get to know the place. At least a few weeks is more than necessary. And I think, you can make an informed decision from there.
Yeah.
Closing and inspiration. So closing thoughts. How has it been working with experts living abroad? How have we impacted your relocation experience comparing to doing it on your own?
I don't know. Well, you see how that turned out, right? Because I did do it on my own, right? So a lot of how I made it to Mexico was, I used other resources and family, right? And the fact that I felt like I had a connection to this area, right? So there were no other options for me. I didn't have like a list of places that I might want to live. No, I didn't want to go to Panama. I didn't want to go to Lisbon. Certainly didn't want to go across the globe to Thailand. Those places are wonderful for other folks. I felt a connection to Merida. And so I think that's why I didn't feel like I needed to do any kind of scouting trip or anything like that. But if I had known about Ella before, right? And even if I didn't do a scouting trip, working with you to try to find some place before I got here would have me. I mean, I didn't lose 4 months worth of Airbnb money, but I lost some money on the Airbnb and that. But to be honest, I'm so happy where I am and how I landed that was money well spent as far as I'm concerned. But again, yes, I'm sure that I know where I'm going. I know that I want to be there. But if I had just worked with you guys or known of you guys and maybe I would have been in this place 2 weeks earlier, right?
That's good to know. I'm really thankful to hear that. And would you recommend our services to others considering the move? And if so, why?
Absolutely. Like I said, don't wait till you get here. Don't wait till as soon as you know for sure that this is where you want to be or that you want to come and see, check it out. Contact them, work with them. I think that it made all the difference for me. It really did. Like, I don't know what would be doing. I don't know what I would be doing if I hadn't worked with you. And that's why I say the energy and the alignment. And it may sound woo woo or for folks, but again, I knew where I wanted to be. And I believe that energy and spirit and God were going to bring things in alignment, right? To make sure that I got what I needed. And I did. I got connected to Ella and
Yeah.
and got this place and got some resources that I didn't even, to be honest with you, I didn't even know that I was going to need. I didn't know that I was going to need a translator at some point or a notarial. I didn't know that I would need these resources.
I'm really thankful for your trust again, Gail. The team and us, we work really hard to ensure your experience as a client is seamless. I cannot keep on saying that, and I'm thankful again for trusting the services. And I'm glad that everything panned out as much as and even more beyond what you wanted. And I'm thankful for that. And again, we give grace to God Almighty, who is the one who provides and shows and guides us in this life and in this journey. What would you just say to someone watching this who's dreaming of moving abroad but needs that final push?
I would say because if they are at a point where they need that final push, I'd say talk with someone because you probably are not speaking to other people you're watching videos. You've told one or two people and they may have be discouraging you, right? You may be saying, I don't think I have the money for that, right? You need to talk. You need to get into, you need to talk with someone that has done it. Stop talking to people that have not done it. You need to, because I have done it, right? So I have some of that information. They've done it, right? Lottie and Wyn, and they've been doing it and living abroad for years now. So they know. Talk to people who know. Don't talk to people that think they know. Talk to people who know. Talk to people that are living abroad, right? Work with someone that actually and you don't take advice from someone that hasn't achieved what you want to achieve, right? Don't take advice from someone that hasn't done what you want to do. Go to someone that actually has achieved what you want and guide you, or at least tell you about their experience, right? Because if you're on the fence, it may be because you don't think you have enough money. Run the numbers. You have to look at your numbers. You have to know what that number, right? And a lot of people don't do that. They just constantly are like, I don't have enough money for that. I'm not going to be able to afford that. How do you know? Have you run the numbers? Do you know what it's going to cost? Have you looked, right? And then talk with someone that's actually done it. Talk with someone and maybe stop talking to people and telling other people that are discouraging you. Me moving further away was not something that made them happy, but that's where I lucked out. The only person I waited till the last minute to tell who had a problem was my family. But everyone, that's where I lucked out. All of my friends and my family, they were happy for me. But if you have folks that are naysayers, then you need to start talking with people that have done it, that are in that community or in that place where you moved to. And if Merida is some place where you're looking, you got Lottie and Wyn to help you.
Bless. And I completely agree. I mean, I have this mantra. I say energy flows where attention goes. So if your attention right now is you want to move abroad, put that energy on
Yes.
it. Find the right people, ask the right questions. And like you said, no naysayers. People will always inflict their own fear, and fear is false evidence appearing real. Talk to the right people. We're here for you at Ella if you need to reach out, and you would never know if you don't try. I mean, this is the final push for you. Try. There is nothing wrong in trying and failing. Trust me, it's better than that.
That's how you grow. That's how you grow. Failure is a part of growth. What is failure, right? What is it that if you fail, that means that you didn't really know your numbers, because that's one of the things, or you didn't do your research. Because one of the things that I heard about people, why people leave this area, is the heat. I'm like, but didn't you know it was hot? Didn't you? It didn't just start getting hot. It's always been really hot here. Just certain times of the year, it gets really hot. So do your research.
And I agree. And the heat, don't get me wrong, it does get hot. And I feel like you have to start looking at the glass half full rather than half empty. You can never, there's no such thing as a perfect life.
No.
There's
No.
There's always going to be a little bit of you just have to pick and choose what you can live with and what you cannot live without. And I think the heat is part of the beautiful glory. I mean, we are sun people. We're meant to be in the sun. Actually, the sun is very good for us, right,
Yes.
Gail?
Yes,
That's
it
right.
is.
Smiling and seriously, it's the sun. It's definitely vitamin D is one of the most, I think, crucial vitamins in our bodies. And I agree, Gail. Let go and let God and
Yeah.
trust in the process. And again, it's the energy you bring. I'm going to
Yeah.
keep on saying that.
Yes.
My new hashtag for you, Gail. It's the
The
energy you bring.
the energy you bring. Yes. And you bring positivity, it will flow right back to you. Doesn't have a
Amen.
choice. Yeah.
Completely. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your expert friends, digital nomad circle, and also community alike. If you've got a question or thoughts on this topic, drop them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Remember, YouTube now has a hype button, so you can up to 3 times a week boost this video if you enjoyed it. If this episode added some value to your expert journey, hit the hype button. It's a simple way to support this channel and help people more discover us living abroad and also life abroad. If you're considering moving to Mexico or need help moving abroad and navigating life abroad responsibly, please visit us at www.expertslivingabroad.com/contact. We offer bespoke relocation support that puts your community first. You can find us on Instagram and LinkedIn and also find all of us on social media. Until next time, stay thoughtful, stay kind, live well wherever you are in this world. Remember, being an expert as an expert means living better abroad. Until again, peace out. Thank you, Gail.
Thank you.